it's Facts with Professor Mark channel on YouTube, and it's back with Astronomy and its Facts series, and here we're in episode 3. The next episode will be episode 4 and about the stars. Please subscribe and hope you enjoy. Today is the third episode about the dwarf planets, and let's get in the stuff. The explanation. Now we were in this a lot. This was in the first episode. Now this is the second. And we were in Uranus and then Neptune. Now we're in the far away place about the asteroid belt. There are two asteroid belts, the Kuiper belt and the asteroid belt. Now we're very far from Neptune. We can see very little. We can see Neptune and we can see a lot of things. We can see Pluto, we can see Ceres, we can see Mimaki, Herma, and then Ceres. Today we're going to talk about Ceres, which is the only dwarf planet in the inner solar system. We're gonna see Ceres here. This is the planet we're gonna talk about. Pluto is the biggest dwarf planet. Ceres is the second biggest. Herma is the third, and Mimaki fourth. Ceres is the fifth. It is the smallest dwarf planet. Let's see what we got about the Kuiper belt. There are two belts in the solar system, the asteroid and the Kuiper. This is the Kuiper belt. There are 5 known dwarf planets in the solar system: Ceres, Mimaki, Herma, Ceres, and Pluto. There are millions of dwarf planets, or objects, we can say. They are very small and were considered as planets until 2006 that changed everything. They were changed into dwarf. There were 2 planet types, the major and the dwarf. The major are the planets we know: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. And while the dwarf planets that we're going to talk about today: Pluto, Ceres, Mimaki, Herma, and Ceres. The dwarf planets are small asteroids or objects smaller than the moon here. They are too small to be considered planets, and I will explain this part in the dwarf planet Pluto. See the comparison between Pluto and the moon. Pluto is the biggest dwarf planet. See the comparison between him and the moon. This arrow is about the Kuiper belt, and this is the comparison. Wow. The biggest dwarf planet is just half the size of the moon. It's very small. Very small. Let's go to Ceres. Now we're in the space that we can see Mars and Jupiter, and we can see a little planet, or a dwarf planet we can say. Its name is Ceres. Ceres is the first and the smallest dwarf planet in the solar system. It's the only planet that is located in the inner solar system, which is inside the asteroid belt, and not the outer solar system, the Kuiper belt. The outer solar system begins out from Jupiter. It was discovered in 1801 by Giuseppe Piazzi. It was named Ceres due to the goddess of agriculture, Ceres. They made Ceres the 5th planet because it was between Jupiter and Mars, so they made Jupiter the 6th planet. But that was changed into a dwarf planet in 2006. It's the smallest dwarf planet. Ceres was called many things: an asteroid, a planet, a dwarf planet. Ceres is the largest asteroid in the asteroid belt. Its mass takes a third of the mass of the asteroid belt. There is a spacecraft called Dawn sent to Ceres, and they found that there are white and blue spots on Ceres, as we can see here. White and blue spots here, everywhere. Okay, we can erase all of this and unequip the pen. And these white and blue spots on Ceres, scientists say that these were meteors that had fell down on Ceres long time ago, that had two HO2 and O2. That means water and oxygen. And they say that these meteors were the same that hit Earth to make the ocean breathable oxygen. That means that there might be life on Ceres. What? How? This is a rocky planet in the asteroid belt. No atmosphere, no moons, no anything, but it has just water and oxygen. That's life. That's life right there. Okay? That's all for Ceres. See you on Pluto. Let's see Pluto. Here, it's the only dwarf planet that is in the inner solar system. This is Pluto and this is Ceres. They are our solar system. Okay, so this little tiny planet is the littlest planet and the near planet to the sun. Let's go to Pluto. Now we are in the Kuiper belt and we left Ceres, and we can see Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune behind us. Kuiper belt clearly now, and we can see our little friendly planet or friend, Pluto. Pluto is a dwarf planet, and in fact it is the biggest dwarf planet in the solar system. But in comparison between the major planets, it's tiny. It's tiny. Since discovery in 1930 by Clyde Tombaugh, it was named Planet X, which if you think is cooler than Pluto. Pluto was named by Venetia Bernini after the Roman god of the underworld, Pluto. Pluto has 5 moons. What? It's a little small planet and has 5 moons? Yeah. Styx, Nix, Kerberos, Hydra, Charon. Charon is the biggest moon of Pluto. In fact, they are binary planets. Charon is half size of Pluto, and they spin together as a double planet. See the comparison of Pluto to Australia. In fact, Pluto is half the size of the moon. So, why isn't it a planet, you ask? Because in 2005 they discovered Ceres, a dwarf planet more massive than Pluto. But Pluto is bigger than it. NASA said that it will be the 10th planet in the solar system, but soon they discovered more planets like these. But they couldn't classify all of them. They had to make a new category, dwarf planets. They are small, usually round, and don't clear their neighborhood, okay, while they pass on their long orbit around the sun. They have failed the test of the major planets that the IAU had made in 2006 that are orbiting the sun, have enough mass to make a spherical shape or something similar, and clearing the neighborhood of comets, asteroids, and other objects in the trip. Pluto has failed number 3, so that means he is a dwarf. Does he have another chance that these steps are wrong and Pluto is back? No one knows, but if Pluto is back, all the dwarf planets will be back. Now the explanation part. Pluto in fact is the biggest dwarf planet. We know that, the solar system. But in comparison between the major planets, it's very tiny. It's tiny. Since the discovery in 1930 by Clyde Tombaugh. It was named Planet X, which if you think is very cooler than Pluto. Pluto was named by a little 11-year girl called Venetia Burney, after the Roman god of the underworld, Pluto. Pluto has 5 moons. Styx, Nix, Kerberos, Hydra, Charon. Charon is the biggest. You can see here. Charon and Pluto, they are binary. Charon is half the size of Pluto, and they spin together as a double planet. See the comparison of Pluto to Australia. See the comparison of Pluto to Australia. Pluto is smaller than Australia even. In fact, Pluto is half the size of the moon. So why isn't it a planet, you ask? Because in 2005 they discovered Ceres, the dwarf planet more massive than Pluto. But Pluto is bigger than it. NASA said that it will be the 10th planet. Okay, after Pluto, the 9th planet. But in the solar system. But soon they discovered more planets like these. I mean like Mimaki, Haumea, like this. In Mimaki, Haumea, and Ceres, Varuna, and Vesta. Okay, these planets, these dwarf planets, but they couldn't classify all of them as planets. They had to make a new category, dwarf planets. They are usually small, round, and don't clear their neighborhood while they pass on their long orbit around the sun. They have failed the test of the major planets that the IAU has made in 2006 that are orbiting the sun. A planet must orbit the sun. A planet must have enough mass or enough weight to make a spherical shape or something similar. That means it must have enough weight or enough mass to make a circle, make itself a sphere. The third, a planet must clear its neighborhood, and Pluto has failed in number 3, is a dwarf. He failed in number 3 because he's orbiting in the Kuiper belt, because the Kuiper belt is very, 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 very big, and it's in fact twice as the asteroid belt, and it's very full with asteroids and comets that spin with them around the sun. So Pluto has failed number 3, and all of the dwarf planets have failed number 3. Does he have another chance that these steps are wrong and Pluto is back? We don't know. No one knows. But if Pluto is back, all the dwarf planets are back, because dwarf planets are like Pluto. That's all for Pluto. See ya on Haumea. Here's the comparison between Pluto and the other dwarf planets. Let's see Haumea. Here we have Haumea. Haumea, the forgotten a bit. We can see it's oval or egg-shaped, has 2 moons, coated with ice, and has black spots. That's what we can say about Haumea. Okay, Haumea is the 3rd dwarf planet from the Sun after Ceres and Pluto. Haumea is a very weird name, named after the Hawaiian goddess Haumea. Haumea, as you can see, is egg-shaped because it spins on its axis very fast. One day is 3.4 hours, and 1 year on Haumea takes, 284 Earth years, and Pluto takes 248 Earth years. Okay, and Ceres takes, I would say, about 3 to 4 years. to revolve around the sun. It is coated with ice. That means that there are rock and stone beneath the ice. Haumea was discovered in 2004, and his moons Hayaka and Namaka were discovered in 2005. Hayaka is the larger moon and the further from the dwarf, and Namaka is the smaller and nearer to the dwarf. That's all for Haumea. See you on Mimaki. Here, after Haumea, we see a red-brown planet, or a dwarf planet, I could say. It's reddish-brown, has one moon, it has twins, and it's the fourth largest dwarf planet in the solar system. I think it's Mimaki. Mimaki is the fourth dwarf planet from the Sun, after Ceres, Pluto, Herma. As you can see, Mimaki is reddish-brown colored. These are microbes called tholins. These tholins make ultraviolet rays, the sun rays, this reddish-brown color. Also, Mimaki has only one moon, nicknamed MK2. It was one of the reasons that Pluto got demoted, because there were too many objects like Pluto. Mimaki takes 305 Earth years to go around the Sun. There are not much facts about Mimaki because it's so far away from the Sun and Earth. It's far away, about 6,847 miles from the Sun. It's very far from the Sun. So we can only learn about it in telescopes. That's all for Mimaki. See you on Earth. As we can say or see, it's very far, so we don't have much facts about it. That's all the facts I know. And then we have a planet that is the reason that Pluto is demoted. It's white and the second biggest dwarf planet. It's the most massive planet, or dwarf planet I could say, in the solar system. It's Ceres. Ceres is the fifth dwarf planet from the Sun, after Ceres, Pluto, Haumea, Mimaki. It is the most massive dwarf planet and the second largest after Pluto. It was named after the Greek goddess of discord and strife. Ceres only has one moon, called Dysnomia. It takes Ceres 557 Earth years to orbit the Sun, or make a year. Ceres was discovered in 2003. By the time, there was a famous show called Xena, so they named it Xena. Ceres' name fits it so much because it was named after the goddess of disagreement, and it was one of the reasons that Pluto was disagreed as being a planet and making a planet definition. That's all the facts for Ceres. Before we go to the moon, or Luna, see the comparison between Pluto, Ceres, and the moon. Ceres is slightly smaller, as you can see. Pluto is slightly bigger, and the moon is much bigger. Ceres and Pluto are the half size of the moon. So we can go to the moon, and this is the last page. Moon, or between brackets, Luna. The moon is the Earth's only natural satellite. The real name of the moon is Luna. Luna takes 24 hours to spin around its axis. That means that we only see one side of Luna, or the moon. The other side is dark, and it is the coldest part of Luna. The solar eclipse happens when Luna is between the Sun and Earth, as we can see here, between this and this. The lunar eclipse happens when the Earth is between Luna and the Sun, as we can see here. Luna should be considered as a dwarf planet or a planet little smaller than Mercury, but it's considered as a moon because it revolves around the Earth. It is much bigger than the dwarf planet. If it was a planet, it will be the 9th biggest after Mercury. That's all for this episode, or that's all for the moon. See you in the stars video. This is the end. Bye.